Girls Aloud was a British-Irish girl group formed through the reality TV show Pop Stars The Rivals in 2002. The group consisted of 5 members: Cheryl Cole, Nadine Coyle, Sarah Harding, Nicola Roberts and Kimberly Walsh. They quickly rose to fame and became one of the most successful girl groups in the UK. In this video, we'll take a look at the discography of the group and how their sound and the group evolved over time. Girls Aloud officially came into existence in November 2002, under the watchful eyes of millions of viewers in the UK on the TV show called Pop Stars The Rivals. The show at the time had a unique premise: the creation of both a boy band and a girl group set to be rivals competing fiercely for the coveted 2002 Christmas #1 single on the UK chart. In the wake of the initial success of Hearsay, the victors of the original Pop Stars show, a multitude of hopefuls auditioned across the UK. These auditions, aimed at selecting the cream of the crop, led to the final selection of 10 girls and 10 boys. Judges Pete Waterman, Louis Walsh, and Spice Girls member Jerry Halliwell played roles in determining the fate of the contestants, ultimately shaping the formation of Girls Aloud. Throughout October and November of 2002, the finalists graced the stage with captivating live performances every Saturday night. The format involved a weekly alternation between the girls and boys, showcasing their talents. The tension escalated as week by week, the contestant with the fewest phone votes faced elimination, gradually shaping the final lineups of the groups. In a climactic moment, the announcement of the 5 girls who secured a spot in the group unfolded in the following order: Cheryl, Nicola, Nadine, Kimberly, and Sarah.
Sit down. Go and sit down. Take your place in the band. Then come here a second. Listen. Yeah. I can't believe it's goodbye for Sabine. But anyway, we've also not to lose sight of the fact that we've got to say well done to you guys, even though you're all crying, but you are the band. I know it's difficult. It's difficult to be happy when that's going on. But anyway, I can now tell everyone that they're going to be called Girls Aloud. They're all like... Now, who thought of that name? Or did it just take you absolutely ages to come up with a name?
We all put loads and loads of names forward, and loads wouldn't
gel or wouldn't fit, or...
You couldn't get cleared.
Or some were taken.
We had a brilliant name and it couldn't get cleared because of other reasons, but this is one we all agreed on, so...
The officially named group Girls Aloud saw Louis Walsh as their manager until 2005, when Hilary Shaw assumed the role. The emerging Girls Aloud went head-to-head with the victorious boys group One True Voice in the race for the Christmas #1 single. Girls Aloud clinched victory with their compelling single Sound of the Underground, produced by Brian Higgins and Xenomania. This triumphant track secured an impressive 4-week consecutive reign at the top of the charts, attaining platinum certification in March 2003. Girls Aloud quickly solidified their status as a dominant force in the British pop music scene. Over the next decade, they released a string of successful albums, each showcasing their evolving sound. Following the triumph of their debut single, Girls Aloud dedicated 5 months to the meticulous recording of both their follow-up single and debut album. The album, which was also named Sound of the Underground, reached completion in April 2003 and swiftly hit the market the following month, debuting impressively at #2 on the charts and would go on to garner platinum certification. The debut album draws inspiration from a diverse array of musical genres prevalent in the 1980s, including synthpop, power pop, and new wave, as well as styles from the 1990s like big beat and drum and bass. This album showcases a blend of influences, drawing comparisons to iconic girl groups such as Bananarama, the Bangles, and the Spice Girls. Additionally, discerning critics have pointed out resemblances to the styles of Kylie Minogue and Madonna. The sonic landscape of the album is characterized by a fusion of guitars and electronic beats, a popular sound during the early 2000s. Many of the tracks encapsulate the prevailing musical trends of the era. Noteworthy is the incorporation of indie rock elements, a movement that significantly impacted producer Brian Higgins. His deliberate effort to blur the boundaries between commercial and so-called indie music reflects the dynamic evolution and cross-pollination occurring within the music industry during this period. The second single, No Good Advice, released in May 2003 to similar success of their debut. The third single was intended to be Some Kind of Miracle, but was changed to fan favourite Life Got Cold, which was released a few months later. In November 2003, Girls Aloud released a cover version of the Pointer Sisters' 1980s dance hit Jump. The single, which charted at number 2, accompanied a re-release of the album. The reissue also featured a cover of the Duran Duran hit, Girls on Film, which further leaned into the 80s-inspired sound of the album. Following a brief hiatus, the group released the single called The Show in June 2004, marking the debut single from their sophomore album, What Will the Neighbours Say? This single made a formidable entry into the charts, securing the impressive position of number 2. The subsequent release, Love Machine, maintained the group's chart prowess, also peaking at number 2 in September of that year. As part of their charitable endeavours, Girls Aloud recorded a cover of the Pretenders' classic, I'll Stand By You, which was released as the official Children in Need charity single. Despite facing some critical reservations, the cover defied expectations, becoming the group's second number 1 single, and maintaining its hold on the top position for 2 consecutive weeks. This unexpected success underscored the group's resilience and ability to captivate audiences across a broader range of pop music. The album was produced entirely by Xenomania, who also worked on many tracks for the group's debut. Xenomania, who had worked with a number of notable pop artists including Kylie and Danny Minogue, the Pet Shop Boys and Kaiser Chiefs, were brought in to add their wide influences present in their productions at the time, including electronic, glam rock, Motown soul, punk, and more traditional pop music. The album was released in November 2004 and entered the charts just beyond the top 5, however swiftly earning its platinum status. The album's swan song, Wake Me Up, hit the airwaves in February 2005, securing the 4th spot on the charts, marking a departure from their usual top 3 dominance. As the new year unfolded, the group found themselves in the prestigious running for a Brit Award, nominated under the Best Pop Act category. Interestingly, the album contained a song called Graffiti My Soul. The track was originally offered to Britney Spears for her 2003 album In the Zone. When crafting the track, Xenomania attempted to capture the style and sound with Sound of the Underground, which they also produced. When Britney and her team heard the demo, she recorded it was reported that Britney was not a fan of the track and felt that the chorus needed to be more fleshed out, and therefore the track was not chosen for the album. The track was repurposed with Girls Aloud recording the final version. After a thrilling tour, Girls Aloud delved into the creation of their 3rd studio masterpiece, Chemistry. Scaling the heights of the UK albums charts, the album made its mark at number 11 and would go to earn the group their 3rd platinum album. Chemistry is a sonic tapestry that weaves together various genres, creating a dynamic and eclectic sound. Released in 2005, the album showcases a departure from the more traditional pop sound of their previous work, introducing elements of electronic, dance, and rock music. The album is infused with vibrant electropop and dance elements, contributing to its energetic and infectious vibe. The beats are often upbeat, and the use of synthesizers adds a modern and electronic touch to many tracks. The electropop style was rising during the mid-2000s, with other artists such as Madonna, Goldfrapp and Robin all releasing albums around this time that had took influences from electro and dance-inspired pop. The vocal performances of the group are also a standout feature. The harmonies are tight, and each member brings a unique quality to the overall sound. The vocals effortlessly complement the diverse musical backdrops. It also showed Girls Aloud to be a pop act that were becoming more seasoned with each release. Sonically, the album pushed the group's sound, and the budget for their music videos and performances increased, resulting in a more polished look and style. The lead single from the album, Long Hot Summer, was released in August 2005 and ended the run of top 5 singles when it charted at number 7. Xenomania producer Higgins would later go on to state that he felt that Long Hot Summer was a disaster record following its chart performance. The follow-up single titled Biology was released in November of the same year. The song was critically acclaimed and received praise from fans who enjoyed the simple pop sounds which was fused with the rock-inspired guitar and piano riffs. Peter Cashmore of The Guardian labelled it the best pop single of the last decade. The single would peak at number 4 in the UK and number 14 on the European chart. In October 2006, Girls Aloud unveiled their greatest hits compilation titled The Sound of Girls Aloud, The Greatest Hits. Bursting onto the scene, it swiftly claimed the top spot on the UK album chart, ultimately surpassing the 1 million mark in sales. Accompanying this musical anthology was the release of the single Something Kinda Ooh, propelling Girls Aloud into the historic realm of being the first British act to ascend into the top 5 solely through download sales. The single reached its peak at number 3 after its physical release. Continuing their chart-topping momentum, the subsequent single was a reimagined cover of Tiffany's I Think We're Alone Now, attaining the commendable position of number 4 on the UK singles chart. March 2007 witnessed a collaboration as Girls Aloud joined forces with the Sugababes, another notable British girl group, for a cover of Aerosmith's Walk This Way. Promoted as Sugababes vs Girls Aloud, this vibrant rendition served as the official single for Comic Relief, marking the group's third number 1 single. The fourth album, Tangled Up, was released in November 2007. This era for the group marked a distinct evolution in their sonic landscape compared to their previous releases. Sonically, the album showcased a more polished and sophisticated sound while still retaining the infectious pop sensibilities that defined the group. The album is a pop record that incorporates elements of dance pop, synth pop, and various EDM subgenres. Continuing with longtime producer Xenomania, the album featured sleek and sophisticated production, with a refined quality in both the instrumentation and arrangements. The album embraced a more mature sound, demonstrating the group's further growth as artists. The album leaned heavily into the electropop and dance pop genres, incorporating pulsating beats, synthesizers, and electronic elements. Tracks like Sexy No 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 and Call the Shots exemplify this fusion, creating a contemporary and danceable atmosphere. While maintaining their pop roots, Tangled Up emphasized catchy melodies and memorable hooks. The songs were crafted with precision, making them instantly accessible to a broad audience. Tracks like Can't Speak French and Girl Overboard showcase this attention to melodic detail. Whilst previous releases held on to rock-inspired and synth sounds reminiscent of the 80s, Tangled Up adopted the EDM craze that was emerging during the mid to late 2000s, which was similar to other artists, such as Kylie Minogue, who released her album X, which also borrowed heavily from the pop EDM genre. 3 singles were released from the album: Sexy No No No, Call the Shots and Can't Speak French, all which performed well on the charts, entering the top 5 in the UK. In conjunction with the release of their album, Girls Aloud collaborated with Julian Gingell and Barry Stone, adopting the pseudonym Jules and Stone to craft an exclusive remix album. This unique collection, which was titled Mixed Up, marked Girls Aloud's first and only remix album. Remix albums, which were becoming more popular during the 2000s with artists such as Mariah Carey and Jennifer Lopez having released remix albums prior. Notably, Mixed Up was exclusively available for purchase at the British retail store Woolworths, and an enticing discount was offered when acquired alongside the Tangled Up album. Mixed Up consisted of 8 remixed tracks, and the collection adhered to a unified theme. Interestingly, while Mixed Up included just 1 recording from Tangled Up, the remainder of the content featured creatively reimagined versions of the group's previous singles. Tony Lemesmer took charge of editing and remixing Sexy No 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 to infuse it with a fresh energy. For digital deluxe editions of Tangled Up, the remix album underwent condensation into a single 38-minute track. This consolidated version found its place as the final track on the deluxe album, offering fans an extended and seamlessly blended auditory experience. In November 2008, Girls Aloud unveiled their 5th and ultimately final studio album titled Out of Control. the album made a triumphant entry onto the UK Albums Chart, claiming the coveted #1 spot and earning the distinction of being their most successful studio album to date, achieving a double platinum certification. The lead single, The Promise, further solidified the group's chart dominance by securing a further #1 on the UK Singles Chart. Following the success of The Promise, the second single, The Loving Kind, was a production collaboration between Xenomania and the Pet Shop Boys. This track, reaching #10 on the charts, marked the group's 20th consecutive top 10 single, attesting to their enduring popularity. The final single from the album, called Untouchable, hit the airwaves in April 2009, securing the 11th position on the UK Singles Chart. This was the first single released in the 7 years that did not reach the top 10 on the UK Singles Chart. This singles chart run would ultimately showcase the group's dominance over pop music in the UK. In February 2009, the group inked a fresh record deal with Fascination, paving the way for the group to release 3 more studio albums. Having released a number of successful singles and albums since the group formed back in 2002, it seemed natural that the label would want to retain the group and release more new music. However, the trajectory took an unexpected turn in July 2009, when Girls Aloud declared a year-long hiatus to explore individual solo endeavours. After a hiatus lasting 3 years, the girls regrouped to commemorate their 10th anniversary. In November 2012, the group released the lead single from their next project titled Something New, serving as the official charity single for children in need. This single made a strong impact, securing the #2 spot on the UK Singles Chart. Subsequently, later that month, Girls Aloud unveiled their second greatest hits compilation called 10. The second single from 10, titled Beautiful 'Cause You Love Me, was released in December 2012. However, this single failed to make a mark within the top 40 on the charts. This was the first single released not to chart in the top 40. The culmination of Girls Aloud's journey unfolded on March 20th, 2013, with a final concert at Echo Arena, Liverpool. Shortly afterward, via Twitter, the group announced their official split, marking the conclusion of an era that had spanned over a decade and dominated UK pop music. Girls Aloud underwent notable sonic transformations over the course of their career, adapting to evolving musical trends and showcasing their versatility. Whilst they have always remained centred on pop music, their music influences can be notable between different eras. Emerging in 2002, Girls Aloud burst onto the scene with their sound incorporating elements of synthpop and new wave. Their sound evolved into electropop over the second and third albums. Out of Control showcased electronic and dance pop sounds, and finally, 10 showcased anthemic and contemporary pop. Throughout their illustrious career, Girls Aloud maintained a close collaboration with Brian Higgins and his songwriting and production team, Xenomania. Xenomania played a key role in producing all of Girls Aloud's albums and singles, with the exception of 9 tracks from their debut album, the charity single Walk This Way with the Sugar Babes, and 2 songs from 10 called On the Metro and Beautiful 'Cause You Love Me. The impact of Girls Aloud's debut single, Sound of the Underground, and another Xenomania production by Sugar Babes called Round Round cannot be overstated. These tracks have been hailed as 2 huge groundbreaking hits for their respective groups, which have been credited with reshaping the landscape of British pop music in the early 2000s. Notably, Girls Aloud navigated the changing musical currents of the mid-2000s, a time when R&B, EDM and rock gained prominence, showcasing a unique ability to sustain success and longevity. In the realm of British reality TV acts, Girls Aloud stands alongside the likes of One Direction and Little Mix as one of the few to achieve enduring success. Reviews of Girls Aloud's debut album underscored its high quality, setting them apart from other reality show contestants and propelling the group onto a trajectory of sustained success. Looking ahead, aptly titled The Girls Aloud Show, encompassing 29 shows. This anticipated reunion, long rumoured, marks a joyous return to the pop music scene for the group. However, this reunion is tinged with sadness, as in 2021, the group lost a cherished member, Sarah Harding, to cancer. Despite the sombre note, the group has expressed their commitment to honouring Sarah's memory as an integral part of the 2024 tour. Let me know in the comments below your favourite song. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos.